we always focus on click-through rate on the thumbnail. Thumbnail is probably one of the most important aspects. And then also we look at the length of the video too, because something we'd identified was YouTube's a business at the end of the day, so they want to make the most money possible. So if we're making a video that's 20 minutes long, 30 minutes long, that has more ad slots in it for YouTube to put mid-roll ads in, like 5 skippable second ad. So the more ad slots in that piece of content, the more money it's going to make for YouTube. So things when we'd spotted videos were performing really well, like that, our most viewed video was our longest video we'd ever made. And I thought, well, there's no coincidence that this 22-minute long video has got 2.5 million views. It's our most profitable video we've ever made because it's made YouTube the most money. Whereas if you make a video that's 4 minutes long, you can't have multiple ads in it. It's got to be over 8 minutes.
Okay.
So if YouTube has the choice, they won't say this because they're fair, but if they had the choice to promote a video that's 20 minutes long or a video that's 4 minutes long on the exact same topic, they're always going to promote the 20-minute long video more because it makes more money for them because it's got more ads on it. And that's all they care about at the end of the day because they're a business. It's just life. So when we look at the data, we look at all these factors. How long was the video? Which traffic sources did the views come from compared to a shorter video? Yeah. You know, was that a factor as to how the piece of content performed?
The title, the thumbnail.
Yeah, all those. Then also the click-through rate on the thumbnail. And then there's even times where we've used the same thumbnail on 3 videos and just changed the logo or something stupid, but the thumbnail is exactly the same. Just to monitor the data and go, oh, that video performed identical. So you go, right, it was because of the thumbnail this time. So there's all those things that you're constantly assessing, which is really important. But you can get too consumed in it at times. Because when the channel first picked up, I didn't fully understand market timing, if that makes sense, in terms of like supply demand of a customer. So I assumed we'd just get 80 million views every single month. This will be great. You know, this is it. You know, YouTube's, it's 24/7.
I've cracked
YouTube's 24/7. So what happens is like you have your high and low months depending on what your consumer's doing. So this is why it's super important to do all that planning to understand what age group's going to watch. You know, an 18-year-old or a 35-year-old or a 55-year-old. So the 18-year-olds have probably the most inconsistent lifestyle because of school. So they'll have GCSEs, so all the big exams. So during this period, basically April through to May, it looks like your career's over. You're lucky to pull like 8 million views a month, maybe 6 million.
That's hilarious.
It falls off a cliff. But then as soon as June comes around and they finish and the exam, boom, you're straight back up to 22,
But if you didn't know that,
you're
like, oh my God, I'm shutting the channel down. And
So when it first blew up, I wasn't aware of this because you're just learning about the things popping off. And you're thinking, oh, okay, what's happening here? So you then start making more videos. So you're oversupplying a customer that doesn't exist. So your business costs go up in May because you're like, oh, we need to do more videos. Let's get the views up. Let's get the views up. But the viewers just aren't online. So you go, oh, we've spent like $5,000 on editing this month or something stupid. And the views are worse. You know, whereas you'd have just stripped it back, reduced the business costs, reduced the editing costs, also put your time into something else like build an online course, music
wait
channel.
for it to pick up again.
And then just wait for June to come around or prepare all of that content for June instead of wasting it in May. Like just blowing it all too early in May, like boom, oh, it's all finished. And then saving it all. So once I learned that huge aspect, it made the stress of the analytics much less because I used to watch them all the time, go, why are the views down today? What's
Refresh
going on?
my stats.
What's going on? I'll have to get a video out. Whereas then I now understand and there's consistent patterns. You go, okay, it's Monday, that's why. Okay, Wednesday, it's right, they pick up. So if it doesn't pick up on a Wednesday or Thursday, you're like, okay, what's up? Because you start to see these patterns every single week within the charts.
So you've done a lot of, obviously, trial and error in your whole thing. So things like, what do we need to say in the first, I don't know, what's the key for 5 seconds?
Yeah, 5 to 30 seconds, yeah.
So you've obviously, over the years, adapted or does it vary on what your content is, how you're going to start?
Well, the most common word people use on YouTube is this. This is the fastest. Right. This is the smallest.
Is that the attention-grabbing word?
Yeah, that's like, that is the buzzword. Okay. And it was I actually learned this from another YouTuber when I had like around 20K subbies. It's like, oh, really? So for ages, every single hook was this. That's all we did. But then I got to...
We'll do a compilation of all your thises.
Because you would watch our YouTube Shorts feed or my TikTok account, and if you would watch my videos like consecutively, I was like, yeah, we need to change the hook because it's like this. I was like, we look a bit stuck in one rut here. So we have a huge range of different hooks. And depending on the age group, it'll be different. So we do the sort of, this is the craziest. I bought and you have that like super Mr. Beastified sort of intro.
Yes. Yeah.
But what we're trying to learn now is to chill it out. So like for some of our our music stuff or the business stuff, it's going to be like, right, in today's video, we're going to talk more like a conversation because they don't want you to scream at them because they're there to get some information. But yeah, for the younger viewers, that sort of is really important. Also the pacing.
Is that more for the shorter clips as well?
Yeah, yes. So the
so
pacing.
Get to the point, give them what they need, and then you're gone.
Yeah. And that's the almost the danger of short format content is becoming disposable. Yeah. So you have the huge potential for virality on a YouTube short or a TikTok. But what I made the mistake of was I was over optimizing it too much for views. So I would optimize it to get 16 million views and go, great, nailed it. Let's do that again, 8 million, 9 million, whatever. But I would remove all the personality out of the content because I'd even say to my dad, I'd go, well, they don't care anyways. They just care about the thing. It's just, I don't matter. But then once we've built out the huge channel at 500,000 subbies, you think it's a problem now that I don't matter because you think, because you've got a lot of followers, but are they fans? You always sit there answering that question. You're like, in your head, you're like, are they fans or are they just viewers? So if you launch certain products or you pivot in different directions, will they come with you? Yes. On that change, or do they only like you for the sausage factory formula stuff that you deliver them with, and they only? But
your name, so there is a personal element
to a degree, yeah.
Of you, so maybe some people would get used to seeing you,
yeah.
Or sometimes it would just be your hands with a product, maybe, or a footage of a PC and you talking over it, stuff like that.
Yeah. So this is sort of what we're hyper aware of. So that's where short format's very valuable, but it's very risky to over optimize it too much for the watch retention and the view element of it. So where people only care about the product that you're showing them. So unless if you're doing a video that's not got an Xbox controller or something in it and it doesn't perform, they swipe away, because it's not that thing that you're almost known for. It's going to give me that Xbox tip. Yeah. It's going to give me that thing. So that's what we've learned from that.
So what are like revenue streams? So once you get a bit of traction, what are your main revenue streams apart from just like ad views and stuff like that? What else have you done to sort of increase your revenue?
To pass it out, to pad it out a bit. So obviously fundamentally on YouTube, you've got your AdSense that you get paid for per 1,000 view on your content. And my main focus when we were growing the channel was to try and take that as far as we could as a predominant revenue stream. So I had my online courses from the music channel that was giving me a consistent, stable cash flow every single month. So I thought, right, we're always going to make this every single year. So that's our baseline. Anything on top of that's a bonus to play with. So I tried to take those views and that money on the platform on YouTube as far as we possibly could. And then that also meant we could prioritize growth as the main core, because if you start to introduce sponsorships too soon, it means you're no longer making content for the viewer. You're now making it, yes, for the viewer, but also to appeal to the brand's campaign needs. So the video idea might not be exactly what would get 1 million views. It might only get 80,000 views because it needs to hit these brand guidelines or whatever they want for the campaign. So then that can often either lose trust with the viewer because like, oh, he's doing sponsorships now, or more pivotally, it loses momentum on the algorithm because 1 minute you got 200,000 views and then your next upload did 20,000 views.
Because it depends on what the sponsor was.
Yeah, so that's why I picked quite specifically like what our sponsors are. But
it's got to match with your brand, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be pretty huge. But like, even just like a piece of content, I turned all the sponsorships down for a whole year because I didn't want to do anything that wasn't my idea. Okay. Or didn't have my full creative control on it.
So if there were sponsorships, they were wanting you to do their products or something like that. Yeah, so not just put their logo with what you were already doing.
It'd be a thing on their product. So like do this dedicated video about this laptop or this gaming device, and they were all products that fit the viewership. But I wanted pure data. I wanted a whole year of uninterrupted data, to where if the views dropped, it was because of me, not because of a sponsorship. And I understood that no matter what money I turned down, I'd make it back anyways, a year later, 2 years later, because I had great advice from one of my dad's mates. Sat me down, he said, what are you going to do with the money, Ben? And I was like, I don't know. I had no answer. So he said,
he's probably hoping he won't like buy a Lamborghini or a yacht.
And he was like, well, you don't need it then. I was like, that's great advice, that. So then I walked away and just focused on making the videos because he said, you're making enough money to break even on the business and get the data. So he said, you don't need anything else on top of that. I was like, yeah, you're right.
So makes sense.
So the main focus with AdSense, we took that as far as we possibly could. And I thought, right, okay, I've got the data I need now. And I now know what brands will work and what won't work. So they like these products, they don't like these products. Okay, they like this particular brand, but they don't like these ones, so we won't do anything with that brand. So then I started to accept the sponsorships on the sort of about 8 months into, but basically this last sort of 8 months, probably a year now actually, that we've been doing sponsorships mostly. So then that became quite a large revenue stream on the thing. So you got AdSense, and then you got YouTube sponsorships. But probably the most lucrative sponsorships are on TikTok because you can create so many of them. Okay. So to create a 20-minute long sponsored YouTube video, you're looking at a good couple of days to shoot, prep, pitch the idea to the brand. You've got to have all these different meetings with the brand, and then they have to check it. Oh, you said the product name wrong here. Could you say that slightly different because you mentioned the spec wrong? You said 4.2 instead of 4.6 or something stupid. So then that takes a lot of time to revise and get that done. Whereas a 30-second TikTok, you can often get paid the exact same amount as a 20-minute YouTube video.
For a lot less work.
But it's much less work and it's quicker work. So you can send it off, get it approved. It's only 30 seconds. There's a lot of footage that can be repurposed. Sometimes they want a bundle deal, so you make them 3 videos, things like that. Because the way sponsorships, and as I've gotten bigger, the scope of sponsorships has become quite interesting. So when you first start off and you're around 60,000 subscribers and you start to get a bit of traction, you start getting offers coming through. And talent agents really want to sign you. Like, oh, we can get you these things, we can get you these, get you more things.
We want to take a percentage of everything you earn.
Yeah. And you have meetings with them because you want to learn how it works.
Absolutely.
And it's all the stuff we talk about.
Even if you're learning what not to do.
Yeah.
It's all valuable information.
So we talk all about this. We have a whole section about talent management and brand deals in the online course because we did the meetings to get the knowledge.
Absolutely.
Of how they navigate. So you see the contract send over and all these different things, but the caliber of sponsorship you get at 60,000 is so generic. So it's like, this video is sponsored by, and it's a little crappy integration, you know the generic YouTube integrations, which then means you're not getting the ad rate that the content truly deserves, because that brand can choose between 100,000 different influencers that are all 50, 60,000 followers in that more generic field. It means that influencers never getting paid what they truly deserve for that piece of content. And also the shelf life of that content, because integrations are only ever judged off of 30-day performance. And brands know most videos underperform in the first 28, 30 days. And they usually pick up after 60 to 90 days. They'll do all right first 30 days, flatline a bit, and then pick up maybe 90 days later.
It's interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Do you know why that is?
I just think it's market thing. So you maybe upload a piece of content in May, underperforms, then June, July comes around and the audience is online to find that video. So some pieces of content they pop off, but a brand will only pay you the ad integration fee for the first 30-day performance. So that means you'll get a crappy fee because the video underperforms. So they might have agreed a couple of £1,000 for this integration. You only get 800 quid because it underperformed. But then the video goes on and does 1.2 million 12 months later.
They don't have to pay you.
But then they don't pay you for when it overperforms. So that's the risk you have when you've got that sort of 60,000, 80,000 subscribers. So you start taking money on, but then you don't get paid what you should have got paid, and then your head gets too distracted, because as well with brand deals, you have to read so much legal contracts. They're like 14 pages long.
Oh, God.
Don't do this, don't say this, don't get a speeding ticket. Don't do silly stuff like this. And you got to read it all, but also check for silly things like them sneaking in exclusivity, or you can't talk about these brands. And we didn't agree that should be an extra, X amount of pounds, because it's 60 days out of the market. So and they sort of try and capitalize on people being naive and not wanting to read that because it's boring and they just want the quick money. Oh, I've got a sponsorship, this is great. So again, that was another reason why we turned all the sponsorships down, because of the admin element. It was going to mean my head would go from creating viral videos to reading legal crap, which just was stupid. So when you do a brand deal, that's basically the premise of it in the early days. But then when you get larger, you start to often be able to deal with the brands direct, so not through an agent who manages their budget. So that then means you get better payment terms. So again, another issue with sponsorships is they sometimes take like 90 days to pay, and then they'll pay late because they're terrible. Basically. So you'll have like a load of cash pending, and you're like, right, it's been 60 days, it's still not here, and you have to chase it up. But when you deal with the brand direct, you get set up as a supplier, gets paid in 30 days, even 14 days, because they get it off the system. So when you get larger, you get preferential treatment in many ways in terms of the payment terms and also how loose they'll be with the contract.
Well, there's an element of trust there you've built up with them, isn't there? So.
And you're larger as well, so you're more important to them as well in many, without being too like,
it's fair. It's fair.
Like this guy's.
So they're less strict.
Exactly, because this guy's in like the top tier of some of the UK tech influencers. Okay, well, we're going to have to work with him because he's in that percentile that we need. Yeah. So then that means when they send the first contracts over and you read all the crap, you go, change this, change that, and they go, no problem. Whereas when you're slightly smaller, we can maybe, it could be compromised, but they're much more, or sorry, we shouldn't have included that, we sent you the wrong version, that type of stuff. So you get much better terms with the deals. And then also, with that, you then start to learn how to structure the deals better because you understand your value in the market. So even though we weren't accepting sponsorships when we had 60,000 subbies, 100,000 subbies, I don't think I did the first one till about 250,000 subbies or something. We were still negotiating them. So we would talk to the agent and we'd go, well, how much? So we were learning how much we were worth in the market. What does a contract, even though we had no intention of signing the deal, we thought we were not interested, but let's just get the information. So then that point when we were ready to go, right, let's do sponsorships, I knew how to structure the deal, how much you could get away with like, well, if it's exclusive, well, we're going to have to 10x the price because I'm out the market for silly stuff like that because you'd learn with the other agents that they accepted that. And you're like, oh, but so that was huge. So that's a big revenue stream these days. And it's become more consistent, especially entering the second year. So when you first, I sit there, I love a calculator. And I'm like, if we did one of these every single, oh, wow, it'd be this much per year. But what happens is the frequency of the deals aren't established in place, and it's back to that patience thing. So like most YouTubers, this is where the gurus are wrong. You'll get 100,000 subscribers, and then you'll get sponsorships, but the frequency of the deals that come through is very sporadic. So even when we had like 300,000 subscribers, there'd be times where you'd be like, well, why aren't I getting more emails? So you've got a public email address. Yeah, I'm getting the most views in the thing, but there's no thing coming in here. And there's a degree of outreach that you have to do. And going to the events helps because they then go, oh, I didn't know about your chat. That helps. But the consistency of the deals isn't linear. So when it comes to the expectations on the sponsorships, it took a good, I'd say, entering into the second year of establishing relationships where we now go, okay, we can expect exactly this amount per month from that revenue stream. Whereas prior to that, it was always, like, it could be this much, and then it would be half, or it would be 3 times more than that. It would be all over the place. And then also we understand now where the budgets get spent. So when, like Christmas period, we thought we'd have got loads of deals during Black Friday, and we were like, "Why, this is strange. Why didn't we get as many as we thought?" I was like, "This is crap. This isn't what I thought was going to happen." And I was like, oh, that was a bit disappointing. We did good enough, but I was like, it could have been, double. I was like, it could have been better. But then what happened was, when January, February came round and the year end was coming, like the marketing year end, the financial year end, suddenly brands had loads of excess budget to spend. So in February, I came back from the CES in Las Vegas trip thing, and I was like, oh, but I was like, this is great. It was like laptop.
Look at my inbox.
There's just loads of stuff coming in because they had so much budget to spend. And then you also are aware that they've got budget that they have to use up, because if they don't use it, they lose it for the following year.
But they've been holding on to it this entire time, looking for something to use it on.
Yeah. So then you now think, okay, we can be a bit cheeky on the price because they're going to spend it anyways, because if they don't spend it, they get a smaller budget next year.
Again, this is the information that's important to know. It gives you power.
Yeah. So you learn all that over a slow pace of time, and then you sort of get them more consistent deals coming through, and you have your baseline, and then you know when the higher months are going to sort of occur and why that's going to happen.
Yeah. So you mentioned like Vegas and went to CES and stuff. So are you always documenting when you're going somewhere as well? That's part of your content now.
Yes, it's a huge thing we do now. So like, whenever we do a trip, we'll go for the core premises why we're there, i.e. the event, CES, biggest tech show in the world. So all the brands are there. It's like 400,000 people, something attend. It's ridiculous, all over the Las Vegas Strip. It's like all the tech's there. So we go and do the core stuff while we're there, latest TVs, etc. But then also we create all this additional content. So literally, our suitcases went missing when we landed. So we went clothes shopping. I kept all the camera gear in the backpack in case this happened. So we went clothes shopping. So we filmed all of that. And we then use it as just little side stories in the content at stages. But then also it's there as legacy content for future stuff where we can use it as B-roll.
B-roll, obviously,
So like in my YouTube course, there's a lot of the Vegas stuff used as B-roll.
Driving a car, your feet getting out of the car door.
There's all that B-roll.
Sunsets.
Yeah. And then because you've got your mate with you as your camera guy to come film the event.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
What's your team? What's your...
Yeah, so basically team-wise. So at our peak, we had 5 video editors working for me. And we keep them all like freelance, and they work overseas as well. So then you have time zone benefits from that. So I finish, they edit. So we had 5 editors that were basically all like part-time, 2 full-time ones, then the rest were overspill sort of work. I had 1 local one as well, where I would drop footage off. So around this time last year, we had 5 editors, and that's because we had so many channels, and I had so much time to create the content because I was always at the studio. So at that stage, I was offloading all the editing because we had such a great workflow. I was offloading it all, and we had a set recipe of how I wanted stuff edited. So I didn't need to do too much crazy editing. Like when we do trips, I have to edit a lot of that because there's so much getting out the car. There's so much excess footage that only I know what happened. Hope you enjoyed today's video. I've been Ben Rowlands. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the podcast, be sure to drop it a subscribe down below for more content just like this.